What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. It looks like we found out a bit more about the NPDs and the sales for last month in July, which of course included Fire Emblem, so we'll kind of see how that one stacks up. And strangely, it also included Madden, which isn't normal. Usually Madden falls into August, but we'll go over some of the sales and how things like Ultimate Alliance 3, for example, did along with Fire Emblem. And well, Microsoft must have remembered all of a sudden that they have a bunch of old IPs because Game Informer brought it up, and they had a bit of an answer for them that was, I guess, a bit odd to me, and I'll go over all of that. And hey, maybe we can expect some cool revivals going into next generation. As always, guys, enjoy these videos. Make sure to hit the like button. It does help out. And get subscribed so you can keep up to date on all the different gaming news and stuff going on throughout the week. Do this every weekday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time. And we're going to start today with Yooka-Laylee and Playtronics. Now, of course, they are doing a Yooka-Laylee game this year. It was kind of a 2D one. It was a bit different looking than what they did before that was all 3D and had a Banjo-Kazooie style, right? Like a collectathon 3D style game. This one looks more in line of something like Tropical Freeze, for example. Well, they tweeted this out on Twitter, talking about the Impossible Lair, which is that 2D game, apparently coming sometime in October. No, like, hard date was given or anything. They just said, hey, October looks to be at least the month we'll be releasing it. They're probably still trying to nail down a time with platforms and everything to make sure everything's in sync. And of course, you get certification back and everything for the different stores or whatnot. So that at least makes sense. But yes, October, look forward to that one. Also, do you remember Power Stone from the Dreamcast? That's where I remember it. I know it also was on the PSP, but like Power Stone 2 was awesome. It was like this 3D arena style fighting game, and it was just really cool on the Dreamcast. Of course, the Dreamcast had like the really smooth looking visuals and super fast 60 frames and everything. It's still a game that a lot of people remember who went through that generation, and Capcom's kind of been just hanging out with it. Capcom does this a lot, so does Square, and we're going to talk about Microsoft later on, just kind of sitting on IPs and doesn't really do anything with their older properties. Well, what's interesting about this situation is the producer for Power Stone seems to want to do it, and they even have an idea of where they would put it. This was in an interview with The Guardian saying, "We weren't just aping current trends or reiterating what had come before, and that has contributed to its lasting appeal. I still get messages from fans about the game. People tweet requests to me to make another Power Stone, which I'd love to do if I got the chance. It would be a particularly great fit for the Nintendo Switch." That's from Tezuka, who is the producer, or was the producer, I guess I should say, for the Power Stone series. And you know what? Yeah, that would probably work really well on the Switch. Now, I'd be curious how that would translate to modern times and what they would do with it. I mean, having a full online Power Stone would be pretty cool, I think, and how would they build it out so that it could be possibly a $60 game? Now, we of course see some games come out and they're just $40, or what if there was just a Power Stone collection, right? All the previous ones, I guess you could throw the PSP Power Stone in there, but I think most people remember the Dreamcast one specifically, right? Power Stone 1 and 2. What if you threw those on a cartridge for like $30 and just put it out to the market and see what happened? And then you can kind of gauge the idea from there if there is a market for the next Power Stone. I'm unsure if there is enough sales potential there for the series, like for Capcom anyway, for Capcom, right? For bigger businesses that want to make a ton of money. I'm curious if the potential is there, but I think if they put it out, had tempered expectations, they could probably make a nice little bit of money there, and why not start with a collection? That's kind of what I'm thinking right now, but I'd love to see some Power Stone releases in like 2020 from Capcom. Also, we have new DualShock 4 colors to look forward to. Sony put out a full trailer for their controllers, why not, and a press release and everything on their blog. 4 different colors. One of them I really like the look of. That is the electric purple, and they even changed out their different symbols on the front-facing controller for the buttons. They changed it out so it's like this white on black button kind of contrast against the electric purple. Looks great, by the way. There's some trailer and some screenshots of it here. And then we also had red camouflage, titanium blue, and then rose gold. They also had a set of headphones, the wireless headphones, to go along with that rose gold that I saw. And yeah, I like the purple one a lot. If I was gonna pick one, obviously purple, I'll probably pick that up. They're gonna be $5 more than the regular controllers, so instead of like $60, they're gonna be $65. Available sometime this fall. They just say fall. It'll probably be one of those things where it just kind of shows up in stores, similar actually to the Switch V2, but these are just controllers. Either way, pretty cool little selection there, and I'm definitely looking at that purple. And guys, some of the quick news that way, let's get into the bigger stuff. So Anthem. Anthem, yes. We haven't really talked about it much because, to be honest, there hasn't been a lot to talk about. I mean, they had the Cataclysm expansion. Apparently that's been going over pretty well. I haven't bothered firing my copy of Anthem back up after I completed the main story and everything. I thought about it, but they did things like delayed it, and they've messed around with drop rates and randomness, and it's been like, maybe I'll go back like a year later. So maybe like next February I'll check it out again, a year later or something. But, well, here we go. The lead producer has actually left the project, left Bioware completely, it seems. And what's interesting about this situation, here's actually the tweet. You can just see it here where he announces that he's leaving after 8 amazing years. That's Ben Irving. And what's interesting about the situation is I originally looked at this and said, well, that seems bad. Like if the producer who's covering the project leaves, right? The person who was in charge of Anthem, essentially getting it all together, leaves. You figured that is a signal for the game to be completely on the downturn. But it seems like fans are hopeful now with them leaving. It seems like a lot of people were pointing that he was the one who did like the randomness, had issues with delays and everything. And I guess technically if you're in charge of the game, anything that goes wrong is kind of your fault. It's almost like when you're coaching like a professional sports team, they usually look at the coach first to replace, when things aren't going well overall. And it does look like there was a lot of confusion behind the scenes after reading through that Kotaku report. So, hey, maybe this is a good thing, or maybe this really is EA telling us, we took a shot with Anthem. It seemed to sell. Like, apparently they sold quite a bit of Anthem, but remember, the whole thing that EA and these other companies are playing with are monthly active users, or MAUs, and that's what they report to investors, and if people aren't playing their game, then the live service doesn't work anymore. So, can Anthem continue on? Maybe they're looking at it like it's going to be like this, like kind of a long road to get that to where they want it to be. Kind of like Destiny 2, I guess. Destiny 2 is still popular, and they keep adding stuff, so we'll see with Anthem, but I don't personally think this is like a great thing like some of the fans are saying, but we'll see. Next up, let's talk about the NPD sales from the month of July. And Madden actually fits into that because there's a little bit of overlap, I believe, into a little bit into August and everything. So you get a few days in August kind of tacked on to the end of July. But we're going to start with the top 10. Now, these, first of all, are all physical and digital depending, because like, for example, the eShop, they don't share any digital sales. So anything from Nintendo you're seeing is all physical. And then you have some that don't have PC sales counted. I'll go over them as we go down the list. Here is the top 10. And yes, no matter what we say, Madden always does well in the US. At is number 1, Madden NFL 20. That one does not count PC sales. Fire Emblem Three Houses, though, look at that. That is only physical copies. Number 2. That's actually really big. We're going to come back to that. Super Mario Maker 2 is still holding up there at number 3, all physical again. Ultimate Alliance 3. That is, again, all physical at number 4. Minecraft at 5. Grand Theft Auto 5 at 6, which just never seems to go away. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate there at 7. Mortal Kombat 11 at 8. Mario Kart 8 at 9. And The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild at 10. Those are 6 of the 10 are Nintendo games, and they're only physical copies, and they're going up against games that also have digital copies. Now, year over year, hardware in general was down 22%, with only the Switch that was actually up year over year, which makes sense as the other 2 consoles are kind of going into the end of their lifespan. That one makes sense to me. Fire Emblem has now jumped to being the second best Fire Emblem sold like in the US so far, and that's only second to Awakening, so that's a pretty good opening, I would say, in the US. Look, we've seen the charts in Japan, and it has fallen behind pretty heavily behind the other versions in Japan, and we kept hearing reports out of the Western audience actually holding this game up and really, really liking it, so it seems like, yes, it did sell well in the US. That's good to see, and it's interesting to see Fire Emblem almost transition to being more of a Western franchise at this point than being something that's super popular in Japan. So interesting stuff there. We'll see what Nintendo reports. I think this is good, but there could be a pretty large disparity between first and second place. Like, I'm sure Madden had some insane sales. Ultimate Alliance 3, though, did pretty well also in the top 5. That's pretty good. I mean, it's Marvel. Marvel tends to sell. The Switch was number 1 hardware, as we would expect, again, going up against systems that are kind of declining. And then the Switch Pro controller was the best sold accessory for the month. So again, pretty good overall for Nintendo, taking 6 of the top 10 with just physical copies, having the best hardware sold, and then also the best accessories sold. Madden, however, we complain about it every single year. Every year. I don't think it's ever going to go away, though. EA will probably continue to sign that deal with the NFL. They'll continue to do that. People will continue to complain. But then every year we'll get that Madden fever with the NFL starting back up. And, well, here we are, Madden NFL 20 at number 1 with not even with it's not even on all platforms. It's just on 2. And then the PC, and PC doesn't count here. So there you go. Madden still reigns supreme when it comes out in the NPDs. Next up, let's talk about A Hat in Time, as it did finally get a release date for the Switch. It's something we've been waiting for. Remember we saw it get rated and everything. It's coming out October 18th. It will have a physical copy, which is great. We expected that with it being rated. It's also going to have a co-op mode, which is still not available actually for the PS4 and the Xbox One version, something that surprised me a little bit there. But yeah, no co-op version there yet. But it will have the co-op mode on the Switch, and I think that's a good one to look into at $39.99 for the physical copy. I believe the DLC will come with the physical copy. I have it on the PS4. I like it on the PS4. It's a good 3D style, again, Yooka-Laylee, Banjo-Kazooie kind of style game, but I did like it a lot. I thought it was really fun. Now, IGN had seemingly the trailer for it and everything, and again, this game seems to make a lot of sense on the Switch, especially with that co-op feature. I assume it's going to use single Joy-Con play and everything, so that's great there, and I'll be looking into it when it comes out on October 18th, but good stuff there. It was a fun, I guess, little build up to it after the developers said that they weren't ever going to port it, and then they probably saw, once again, I keep telling you guys, that install size grow, and then all of a sudden, oh, the game works and it's showing up, because it is on Unreal Engine 3, so they probably had to get a studio to work with them to port it over, and it makes sense with the install size. Honestly, that kind of game makes sense on the Switch anyway, when you have those 3D platformer, basically indie-style games, but look forward to it because it is a fun game. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about Microsoft and the vast amount of intellectual properties that they are just sitting on right now. I mean, you can look at the Rare replay just as a little bit of a taste of all the stuff that they currently had. Now, we do talk about how Battletoads is coming out, right? And I still need to play that one. The art style, I'm unsure of right now. I think I need to see it in motion in front of me. Killer Instinct is interesting as well. Fans are really calling for another Killer Instinct, and I'll be curious to see how Microsoft responds to that one. But really just look at some of the stuff. We just saw Banjo-Kazooie get revealed by Nintendo for Smash, and people went in like nuts. Like, people went crazy for it. And at that point I said, you know what? This is when Microsoft announces Banjo at E3. And they didn't. And it's so weird that they didn't take advantage of that, and it sounded like they were kind of caught off guard by it, which is, again, weird to me. You have some great IPs there. Think of, like, remember Blinks? Yeah, Perfect Dark? Well, anyway, Matt Booty actually talked to Game Informer about this, and during this entire interview, he talks about how they are working through something like Battletoads. They've done stuff with Killer Instinct, for example, and a lot of it comes down to finding people within their company, I guess studios and everything, that have a passion for that intellectual property or that series. Now, remember, we talked about Rare said that, yeah, we don't mind letting people work on any of the IPs that we currently, I guess, created or had worked on in the past, as long as it's the right studio. And all of these studios that Microsoft has now picked up, I really have a hard time believing that nobody at these studios has passion for something like a Perfect Dark or a Banjo-Kazooie or a Blinks. Battletoads is at least happening, but you can just start listing and looking through the IPs, and I have a feeling some of those are going to come back next generation. Perfect Dark seems like a slam dunk for them, doesn't it? Like, it seems like it's just easy. It would just fit right in to Microsoft's ecosystem with their shooters and their online gameplay and everything, but still radio silent on that, and we figured this past E3 is when they reveal it. Maybe next year. That's what we keep saying. Every E3. Maybe Banjo, maybe Perfect Dark, maybe a new Fable, right? Maybe they'll get crazy and get Blinks. So far, nothing, though. But let me know what you guys think about this down below. And what do you think Microsoft should revive for next generation? Because I think they have at least a few in mind, but going into something like the next gen with Scarlet, possibly doing more third-party stuff with Nintendo, You never know. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day as you're seeing here. This one is from Bet Chaos Gaming. Says, if Nintendo includes a music streaming service with the Nintendo Switch Online, it will sell people will download the voice chat app if it doubles as a Nintendo Spotify. Yeah, that's an easy way. I think that they could add value to their online application. Some people, if it worked just for a cell phone, would also buy that. Like, think about that. We're not even talking about like for the Switch. You pay in $20 for their online service, and all of a sudden that phone that you has that app on it works as their own like Spotify service, like you're saying. It seems easy, right? Like we think about all this stuff, we're like, that would do really well to add value to the online service. Some people might not even buy in to play Switch Online. They might just buy in for that Spotify service. So again, a lot of really good ideas out there, and Nintendo's execution on some of this stuff is at times like baffling, like head scratching even. But hey, maybe they have a plan, or maybe they just don't like people uploading their music, and that's just it. Well, we'll see. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit the like button, really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about today, whether it's Microsoft and their IPs that they're sitting on, or even Capcom with Power Stone. Come on, Capcom or Square, they got a lot of stuff too. It's just, all these companies seem like they're scared to take a shot with one of these, and maybe it's because development costs are high, but I mean, the player base is as high as it's ever been, so, you know, somebody take a shot with some of these games. Let me know what you think about that whole situation with all of those IPs. What do you think about the MPDs with Nintendo taking 6 of 10 of the 10 top spots, the hardware doing really well, and then their accessories doing really well? It seems like almost basically was a sweep for Nintendo just about if it wasn't for a pesky Madden. Madden's never going away. Let me know what you guys think about all of that and more down below. Thanks, guys, for watching. Have a great weekend. I'll see you guys back here Monday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time for Newswave.